You looking for me, you can find me at the barbershop. Pulling up to get a cut, bumping through the parking lot. I keep it clean, Rico's where I'm running to. If you in the city, then you probably gonna be coming to. Gang getting down, Red's getting down, Nick getting down.
What's up, guys? This is Gene Salas. This is the first episode, and I'm very excited. And I just wanted to let you guys know that this is one of many. And I had to bring my brother from another.
Yes, sir.
Omniscient, Grammy-nominated artist, good friend, good listener, and he loves to talk as well.
Most important, good friend.
Most important, good friend. That's a knowledge for you. So, again, welcome to the K.O.S. Knowledge Yourself Barber Club podcast. We're here to develop ourselves, dig deep inside, and find out self-awareness and come up with self-concepts and things that would help maybe somebody that's not sure of what's going on in their life or not sure how to go about things in their life. And maybe something we say might spark the mind of somebody, and that spark may start a fire for something great, you know? So
Facts.
With that said, thank you all for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you know how it is. We always
this is something that we've kind of done before.
we do it all the time.
Yeah. But this is like a different way of doing it.
Like a new way of doing it.
A new way of doing it. And we've always kind of like, I like what you said, spark something.
Yes.
So this is like the little chimney fire that starts that big one. You know what I'm saying? Like if this starts something in you, then that's what we're here for, I guess.
Yeah, man.
And that's what my brother's here for. This is what he's starting, and I'm here to start that evolution.
Correct. Evolution. I like that. So, yeah, man, I just mainly brought you in because your story's a good one.
What story?
The beginning.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we're, close to 20 plus years?
Yes, sir.
And I've seen you from different angles come about music and then also do production and then also be about your shows. And on top of all that, you're always smiling.
Mm.
You know, even when you're caught up in a mess or something, you're always smiling. And you always have a good energy, a good vibe. And I think that's something that both you and I have. And that's why we're always, no matter what, we're having a good time.
Facts.
So I just want you to speak more about your developmental stage as an artist and also developmental stage as a person. Most important, the love factor that you include in all that. And with that said, like, how did you decide? Okay, people don't know this. Used to be a barber.
Facts. This is why another key why I'm here.
Yes, this is the main key because I'm like, damn, I was a barber. And then he decided to go and take a different route. Well, not different, just a route that he felt was more comfortable to him, which is music. So
Facts.
Just bring us into like that world where you were a barber and then you decided to go a different direction.
Well, I mean, we have to start from the teens, right? So maybe when I was like 12, but that's not a teen, so let's go to 13.
12 teen.
12 teen? Facts.
11 teen better.
I started writing for just spontaneous reasons. Didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't writing bars because I didn't know how to write bars. I would say it was poetry, but I was just writing and writing and writing. That led to later on in the years, keep writing and then falling in love with hip-hop.
Hip-hop.
Yes, sir. HIPHOP, 50 years.
I am.
Boom. Shaolin.
Word.
So, yeah, that took me to later on. Excuse me, microphone. I love you so much for all the times. It took me to later on when I was like, damn, where am I taking this artistic value? Because at a certain point, remember, we're talking about back in the days. It's not
What
like
year
today.
is this specific?
We're talking about like late 90s.
Dang,
right?
You just give up your age. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Like, look at me. I'm so fresh and so clean.
Comes knowledge.
It's a different time, right? Because nowadays, technology is crazy. So a kid wants to do something, it's there. For us, you know what it was to get in the studio?
Yeah.
Like, that was the most difficult thing in the world. And then, hold on, how are you going to put your music out? Like, only people that are signed could do music. Only people that are signed could do videos. Only people that, and then I got inspired by friends.
Correct.
that were around in Miami. Different friends, but let's shout out ProFresh crew, for example.
Word.
It's a lot of people in that crew.
Damn, that's a long time ago.
You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, I'm like, well, I'm already doing things at the barbershop. And meanwhile, I'm at the barbershop.
Wait, give the shout out to the barbershop.
I was just going to.
Okay.
Big shout out to Fat Fades. And not F-A-T, but P-H-A-T.
P-H-A-T.
Yeah. Mark. Actually, can we dedicate this to the one and only?
You're talking about Kevin?
Yeah.
Yes. We could dedicate this episode, which
We're going to dedicate this episode.
Our brother, Kevin Blanco, rest in peace, man.
Yes, sir. So I'm pretty sure I met him through you.
Yeah, everybody met everybody through him.
Yeah, Kevin was a plug for me. I moved to Europe when I was 9 years old and came back when I was 14. That's a difficult age because when you come back, middle school is when you meet everyone.
Correct.
So when I came back, I hardly didn't know no one. So I started meeting people through here, through there. But, you know, at the age of like 18, 19, I'm like, I'm going to go to barber school because I like this. I was cutting people in the like everyone, in the house. I was cutting my dog. I was doing designer tattoos,
The dog?
like designs on my dog.
Wow.
So I go to school and I meet this guy, Kevin Blanco, best character of all times.
Of all times.
Rest in power. And he tells me, yo, I have this barbershop. Just come work with me, Just come work with me. He took me to Fat Fades. From there, everything started. You know that little crumble that turns into
effect.
like a
snowball
yes.
effect.
So from there, I met my partner, Emo, Maurice.
Shout out to Mo.
Flow Official. From there, we were freestyling from there. So that all turned into something. Then I see friends coming out with vinyls and stuff. I'm like, we could do this. You know, so I was like, I'm going to go.
All in.
We could say balls deep. I'm gonna go balls deep. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about basketballs.
Pause.
So that's what started the professional part of it. But the
recording professional process.
The artistic part of it started like early in my teens. From there on, it was just like everything that's passionate and everything that deals with passion and art. It's just not easy because it's anything that's beautiful is not easy.
Correct.
Let's know that. Another fact on the podcast.
I'm gonna put it on the screen. Ching. Facts.
So from there, I just that's what took me onto that. And once I started, I was fortunate enough to have surroundings around me to be able to do it, to allow me to do it, and the hustle in me to figure out how to do it, and
there's a good point. This is before YouTube, and this is before you could search and find answers. This is when you had to feel it, know it, and you not care what anybody thinks.
This is going in. This is before. Man, is it even before MySpace? It might have been.
It might have been.
Or it might have been just on that brink.
I'm saying this because when I started barbering, it wasn't glamorized as it is now. Because right now you're a barber, you're pretty much a celebrity, a local celebrity.
Jinx, you owe me a drink.
I got you. You know how many drinks I got you already. But I got you. And it's just something that came and I presented itself to me cutting hair, and it was easy. And I just went with it. But it wasn't popular at the time.
It was not.
So everybody's like, oh, you would tell people I'm a barber. They're like, what? Like they wouldn't understand what it was. They just thought, oh, you cut hair and you make minimum wage.
It was even kind of like, because being a rapper was cool.
Yeah.
Being an MC.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? That was cool.
Well, being a good rapper.
Being a barber was like, just like, oh, you a barber. Now, being a barber is like some high class thing.
It's competitive too.
Super competitive. But that's when I realized that without knowing, through traits of like family DNA or maybe just whatever myself, the artistic in me was always there and I didn't know. Because the fact that I love cutting hair was the artist part of it. Correct. And I know you feel the same.
Of course.
It just feels amazing. Tell me not, brother. It feels amazing to see one dude come in looking all scruffy. And it's like there's an art value in there to you making that person walk out not only looking differently, but feeling different.
Correct. It's an exchange of energy. I've always said that. Somebody comes in with good energy, you have good energy, you exchange, energies, and a beautiful thing, man.
Facts. And this is why after all these years, I still have some clients
Like music.
like music. So music is the same but different. What I found out with music is there's certain people that don't do this, but I feel like music to me is like life. You know what I'm saying? Like the algorithm of music is life. So if you know as an artist, you know that you could kind of like read me and know me a lot through my music because I do express myself. I don't hold back.
Yeah, but reading you is like reading different languages with braille inserted into it.
And the language is hidden, already lost.
So if you know all
Ancient.
those things, you could glimpse inside of the world of And we've talked
Facts.
about this before.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hip hop head, so I've always been like, stick with the bars, man. Stick with this. But that's me being selfish. Because when I hear you on tracks like Brother and things like that, I'm like, yo, I was going in. Chapter 1 on the new album, I'm like, yo,
album,
you're going in.
Big up Docs Production, Good Tone Studios. Yeah, the newest album, it's called Grown Music for a reason.
Yes, I love that.
And the cover is amazing.
Yeah, I like
the
it.
cover has
Who's that baby?
It's a little baby.
Just a little baby?
Like, yeah, it's a little baby. Let's not
Good
say
thing you
whose
didn't get
baby
a
it
big
is.
baby.
It's not my baby. That's a good thing. So,
Oh, man,
but it's the whole concept of like that's the way I run with music. It's like I wanna make you think. It's called Grown Music, but we have a baby in there. But at the same time, we realize that even though we grown, we kind of like never leave certain traits or wants or things of being young or
Correct.
being a teenager, for example. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because it kind of like leads me into a venture that I've been doing with my sister. And we actually have an actual book. And it's like something that's dealt for teens.
You're writing a book?
No, it's already like available.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The written word. Nobody writes anything anymore.
Yeah, it's not. It's there. It's like a hard copy. And it's really for teens, but I was proud. And I'm not gonna say my sister put in so much hard work. Shout out to Nye.
Shout out to Nye.
She put a lot of work in Europe. She met up with a lot of people in the like industry of like consulting and helping like mental health. You know what I'm saying? And
so she has a lot of self-awareness.
She does. And like me and her would have combos, and she would take the combos that we would have, and then we created, but I have to give her the mad props of doing the leg work, the hard work of putting something together, to the fact that like when I got the hard copy, I was like really proud. The hard copy is beautiful. To be able to say that me and my family did something that has a hard copy. And then I kind of hit her back, and I'm like, should we call it teens? Because I think 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50-year-old people could learn from this.
But the good thing that you spoke about is that you guys were self-aware. And that's something that I want to portray and also deliver a message in this podcast to people to wake up. And it doesn't necessarily mean to wake up for benefit. It's just wake up for self-awareness. So you can have a better self-concept. If you have a better self-concept, I wrote it down here. So the self-awareness is about what we do. And then self-knowledge is about who we are. And then the self-concept, in other words, is the self-concept we build is the story we tell ourselves about who we are. So with these three things, we do it all the time. We just don't address it or name it or identify it. But I believe because we do these things, self-awareness, self-knowledge, and self-concepts, it builds the artistic side. And with those three things, we developed what we are today. And both of us had, humble upbringings. And that voice inside, which made me aware that, there's something greater than just me. Because I don't care what anybody says. When I think, I don't hear my voice at times. And sometimes I hear things that are thoughts, but then I relay the thought and I get an answer. And I don't understand if I gave myself the answer or I was giving the answer.
It's coming from the Great Spirit.
Yeah, so I would tell this to people years ago, and people would be like, yo, bro, you're hearing things. I'm like, no, I'm not hearing things. You know what I'm saying? And then when I heard my voice on a recorded, and then I heard how it sounds totally different than the sound I hear in my thoughts.
When you hear yourself.
Have you ever thought about that?
I mean,
The sound of your thoughts?
I love that one. The sound of your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
something I dwell with all the time. I'm like, dude, that's not my voice. And it's not
someone
even a
else,
voice.
but it's inside of me.
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. That's why I constantly try to discover and find maybe a saying or maybe a book or something that would address it, but I haven't. But then again, there's faith. So if you have faith, there's a creator. If there's a creator, I believe the creator will have a say in the day-to-days, you know?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I'm just like you said. There's a book, this or that. Nothing is ever the final answer.
That's a good one.
The good thing is that if it helps or if it sparks that fire, like we said at the beginning. So, that's what really sparks everything to me or starts everything to me.
Yeah, the
You know what I'm
self-awareness.
Yeah. So, fortunately we put something together that was great. You know what I'm saying? The book is called the Designer Life Blueprint.
Designer Life Blueprint. All
Yeah.
right. And where can we find this thing?
You can find that at
In the club.
teenrockstarentrepreneur.org. So everything is spelled correctly. So it's www.teenrockstarentrepreneur.org. Now, why the rock star? Question.
You're a rock star.
Kind of like a rock
I mean,
star.
I've caught you before when you jumped off of a stage.
Yeah, did I jump off?
I don't know.
That's the question.
I
See,
want to be
that's-
politically correct. You jumped off the stage. I caught you though.
Yeah, you caught me jumping off. And that's a great thing. The whole thing is that a rock star is something that everyone kind of wants to be. It's kind of cool. But then again, what is cool? Then it's complicated. Then there's also a rock star always showcases himself to be at a pivotal level, but always kind of like have the regular human issues in the background.
Okay, human issues. Time out. That's a good point. So before the rock star life, I want you to talk about the hardships you had, if you don't mind sharing with us. The things you've been through in the sense of like, I have choices to make, decisions that have to be seen through.
Yeah, I mean, one of them, we're not going to jump into the, the raisings, the family, all of that. That's
private.
That's like way prior, but definitely one of the main things that kind of like shifted me in life was being just getting sick. You know what I'm saying? Having cancer at an early age, and that kind of like made a quick shift. Fortunately, the way life has worked for Daniel Perez, Mr. Omniscient. The way life has worked for me, I feel like I've been gifted. Always. Like, it doesn't matter how I move, the universe.
Life's a gift, guys. Life's a gift.
The universe always figures out a way to get me, to get my back. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm down, it's there. When there's no work, it's there. When something happens, it's there. So I started this music venture, and all of a sudden I got hit with cancer. And
you had a choice.
I had choices of, like, first of all, getting well. And fortunately, I had people around me that were loving enough, caring enough to be able to take me to that next level and allow me to heal in an easier way than other people don't have that choice. That's why I'm saying I feel blessed.
You are blessed. We
You know
are
what
all
I'm saying?
blessed. And this is knowledge of self, self-awareness. And with that came a concept that you developed, which was Omniscient, the hip-hop artist, Grammy-nominated, very respected, legendary Miami artist.
Thank you. But what I do have to say is that, yeah, that put a big kick up my butt. You know what I'm saying?
And then it made you spark, right?
It made me be like, I almost lost this thing called life, And now I'm here. Let's make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, something similar happened to me, not in that extreme, but it got to a point that I had to choose. I was like, yo, do I want to continue doing this 9-to-5 thing? Or do I want to go and continue to do this barber thing? And again, I repeat, when I became a barber, it was not a popular thing. If you were the barber, you were the man. But there was very few that knew how to do it. Why? Because there was no YouTube, there was no instruction manuals, there was nobody wanting to share their knowledge because they wanted to keep the clientele to themselves. But then again, you meet good, loving, caring people that share the wisdom. And that's something I want to get across in this podcast. You got to share wisdom because that's the only way that we could evolve. Right. And if you want to evolve to be better than another person, you're not going to evolve. You're just going to be better than another person. Now, if you could evolve to the point that you make everybody around you better, that's what I'm about. And, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes in life. And I like making mistakes because it helps me develop myself. And that, again, comes to the self-concept, So the self-concept that I have for myself is a development stage where I address the good, the bad, the ugly. I mix it up in a little pot, and then you get Gene. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And
it's a beautiful thing.
I try.
It's a beautiful thing. And the one thing that I love that you said, which, everyone knows, but I don't think people really grasp that idea.
No. That's why we're here.
And then hold on. No one walking, there's not one spiritual human being walking on this earth that is perfect. Not one. Not the one that you love the most, not the one that you look up to the most, not your favorite artist, not your favorite politician, not no one. There's not one person in this world that does not have faults. Politician? Yeah, his name is Gene. Running for Congress.
I do not have a favorite politician.
So, yeah, that's a big thing. People need to understand that don't be so hard on yourself sometimes. But it's difficult to do that, especially for brain thinkers. You know what I'm saying? For people that always want to be overthinking everything. I'm not saying I'm that.
You're definitely that, dude.
So it's difficult to not be hard on yourself because you're always like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. Just know that, listen, what you're doing is good enough. Just keep working.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the work that you do on yourself. Listen, you could do everything that you want to do. You could have the best coach in the gym, gymming you out, the best yoga instructor. You could take all the medicine you want, or you could take the pharmaceuticals that you want. You could do anything that you want. But at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to you.
Correct.
And that is the knowledge of self.
Knowledge of self. And I called it that because that's what I share with on a day-to-day basis with all my clientele. And I'm happy to say always comes and gets a haircut. We have great conversations, and then we have different conversations out of the shop, and then we just continue our conversations. And that goes to all my clients. And I've always been told, damn, Gene, you're like my psychiatrist. And I'm like, yo, I'm not. I'm just the person that listens, keeper of secrets, and then I share my knowledge. So I know that part's important. So whatever I do on my free time, I research. And I double check and I cross reference and I do all this. It's so much that sometimes my my girl's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, I'm looking up facts. And then she's like,
I'm
what?
getting my brain fatter.
She couldn't understand the fact that I'm there at 2 a.m. looking up things and looking at a documentary and then looking up things. And I've realized one thing that I want to get clear. And I want everybody to understand this. All that I know is that we don't know. That's all I want to get across. And if we do have an idea of things, don't push it out like, oh, this is that, this is real. This is self-concept, self-awareness, knowledge of self. You make the decision. And then if you believe in manifesting and all of those precious mystic things in life, then you should understand that you design yourself, you design your life, you design your reality. And there's nothing wrong with you believing a certain thing. Just don't knock somebody else for thinking different from you, So me and like I said, this is the man that anywhere we go is dapping up everybody, saying hi to everybody, same with me, Of course, you have your few little statics here and there, but that's normal.
That's normal. I mean, you can't make everyone be the, you know what I mean?
Correct.
There's always, and that's necessary as well. That's a good thing.
Correct.
So, fact thing. I don't know if you remember this. I might have told you, but not.
Oh, here we go.
No, but years ago, I was at a certain place and I'm talking. This is when I still am. Like you know how we are.
Yeah.
We're in tune with the world. with politics, economics, with this and that, because things that run the world run the way that people are thinking at the moment. But like in the Bush days, and I'm talking about Bush
Beware
Jr.
of false prophets.
So in the Bush days, I was really, you remember me back in those days, like touring with
Well, a
Immortal
little bit.
Technique
It's a lot of
and all of
blackout
this, like,
stages.
9/11, all of this. I'm like, blah, blah. So anything anyone would say, but I would do it artistically or,
Expression.
yeah, like I'm not arguing. It's more like, let's have a debate. Let's not argue.
It's hard to do that with people nowadays.
It is. There was someone there who was a master debater, and she would teach a class in North Carolina. She actually flew me out.
Is that a word? Master debater?
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so they actually do, like, they have to actually have debate classes in colleges and universities.
My son debates. Yo, big up to Saba, man.
Saba. Yeah, so that's good. Now he knows that he can, like, get some
I'm
extra
his
points.
father, so you could imagine.
I could imagine. So I did runs on that, like, and then I realized that I have that certain thing that we have, which is, it's not like we're gonna get angry at each other. We're gonna get that. No, we're speaking or debating, but never arguing, because the argument will never go anywhere. And then once anything is not going anywhere, you just gotta stop it, because time is valuable. Yes. Time is not money. We spoke about this.
What is it? Time is what? Time is bartering.
Time is bartering.
Not money.
Not money, because that's too capitalistic.
Yeah, we're not capitalists here.
But no, time is too valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you the line.
I mean, I believe time is non-existent, man. But then again, what do I know? All I know is that I don't know.
I just have to do it. No hay nada que valoro más que el tiempo. Eso no se compra, no se vende y no lo rento.
Oh, bars. But yeah, man, time to me is precious, but at the same time,
what is time?
Do I value it? I don't know, man. I'm too busy being me to like stop and think about that. But yes, I feel anxiety and urgency, but not anxiety to the point where I'm like going crazy, because then again, that voice that I don't know who the hell it is just reminds me like, yo, man, it's all right. Relax. Everything, my friend, good friend of mine I grew up with, Titi, he's my boy. We were speaking about one day we were coming back from the Heat game, and I was driving, and I look at him, and we're listening to a song we were listening to 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we were listening to the song in the car, and I looked at him, I go, yo, you remember when we heard this song the first time? And he's like, yeah, and he remembered it. Bam, 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 bam.
Deja vu.
And that day, we had a conversation about where we wanted to be when we were older, and everything we wanted, we have now.
Ah, that's beautiful.
So you know how it is when you're young and you're riding around and whatever. And I had said, I want to have my wife. I want to have my kids. I want to have a career. I want to, like, just typical thing that you would say. I never dreamed more than that, because of where I came from, in the sense of like, it's far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was knowledgeable enough to think, okay, I want to be a lawyer. But then I was like, nah, I don't want to go to school for that long. And then I knew that I didn't want to be around that type of environment. Nothing wrong with being a lawyer. If you're a lawyer, yo, props to you. I need them.
Props to you. Like, we all have friends that are lawyers.
But I didn't want to be in that tribe.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Toxic.
So then I found myself comfortable around friends. Friends were artists. Artists were developing Miami in the time, because there was artists, but that little crew that we had going, and then back in the days, I was rolling with Effect, DJ Effect. Big up to that guy.
Damn, Effect. I haven't seen him in a minute.
Yeah, man. He was one of those that guy never gave up. He has self-concept, self-awareness, and I give him props. So back to what we were talking about, we got to the point, long story short, that we were looking at each other and like, yo, what do we do from now on, man? And it was pretty much, we didn't have to say it, but we just looked at each other like, yo, let's just keep doing us, in the sense of like creating, giving, spreading love, knowledge, and again, that's what we're doing here, man.
So speaking of humble beginnings, you know how does. I'm like, you can never catch me, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna switch roles now.
Oh,
so speaking of humble beginnings, where does Gene come from? What are the humble beginnings?
From the dungeons of rap.
Deep from the dungeons of rap.
Nah, man, just a kid from Medellin, Colombia, man, that came to this country, and Didn't really realize.
So Colombian.
Yeah, it was funny too. I came to this country and my name is Jean Paul, Jean Paul. But my elementary school teacher was a Haitian lady, and she called me Jean for like a week. I didn't raise
How does a Haitian person call you when they know?
I don't know, dude. I just know that she said Jean, and I didn't raise my hand. And then it was funny because I got home one day, and my mom is like, "Why haven't you been to school?" I'm like, "Yo, what are you talking about?" She's like, "They just called and said you haven't been." I'm like, "Yo, look at my homework. Like, look at what are you talking about?" So then it was that she was
me of your daughter's
she was calling me Jean, and my name was Jean, and I didn't understand it at the time. And then after that, everybody called me Jean. So from there, I developed myself to always try to be better or be the best because I felt uncomfortable because I didn't understand the language. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, it was a new land, new things. I'm like,
Your
"Oh,
family is on the grind. You're young.
And then I met my friend Don, Jewish boy, and he was cool, man. And him and I kicked it, and he was good. I didn't speak English, he didn't speak Spanish, but we were cool. And ever since then, we've been cool and we've been tight, you know. So
That's why you started that relationship because y'all didn't understand each other.
but we know how to play. He knew how to play ball. I know how to play soccer. So I taught him. He knew how to play soccer too. So we both kind of like played in sports and then developed a friendship. And then I learned English quick, man. It was, I don't know what it is when you're young that you just pick up.
Word.
So I was watching cartoons, talking in school, and like in a couple of months, maybe like in a month or two, I was already going. So then from there, I just became always aware of things. I was always aware of what was going on. I didn't feel right. And that's something else that you have to know, that when you feel something, like intuition, that's real.
When they say you feel it in the gut, you better pay attention.
So if you're out there and you ever feel like, nah, I shouldn't do this, listen to yourself. Because it's better to regret not doing it and missing out than doing it and missing out, if you know what that means.
So basically, that's one of the things that's beautiful about this country that we're in. Because let's keep it real. The United States of America, which I was born in, I am American.
Bro, you're American, Puerto Rican, and Spaniard.
I'm a worldwide citizen. This is why I have this right here. You know what I'm saying? But I am a worldwide citizen. But this is the beautiful thing about this country. People want to claim it. People want to say it's theirs. People want to say that. Let's just keep it real. The people that were here before anyone came. But this is what builds character, is going somewhere else and feeling the way you felt, which is uncomfortable. But sometimes there's people that when they feel uncomfortable, they fall back and they deteriorate.
Yes.
And there's people that go forward and they push. So
Yeah,
knowledge of self is when you kind of feel a little bit pushed back, it's not about fighting. It's not about being aggressive. It's just about knowing that if you feel uncomfortable, then know that uncomfortable is good sometimes.
It develops character. It exposes. It reveals.
Do you think the diamond likes pressure?
Pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know. They make fake diamonds now.
They do.
But they're real.
But they're real.
That's the world
what
we're
he
living
said.
in. That's the world we're living in, man.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, to finish it off, man, I was just a kid that was always thinking. And I was always wondering. And I never, ever, ever respected authority. Why? Because I always saw, I love my family, but I always saw turmoil. And I always saw static. And I always saw things that I was like, yo, why are you doing this to this person? If you guys, I would look at an aunt and she's so loving, caring, but she could be so mean. Mm-hmm. And then vice versa. Then I had a mom that wouldn't want to listen to me. I'm like, yo, listen to what I'm saying. She wouldn't. So because she wouldn't listen to me, she would punish me, right? But this is back in the days. We didn't have bread. We didn't have no money. We had the rotary TVs, four channels on top of a crate because we didn't have a table.
And the hangers?
Yeah. No, I used to be the kid that used to have to hold the hanger.
Yeah. And the chancleta holding the hanger.
So what she used to do for as a punishment, we had an encyclopedia because my mom got, you know. They came to the door.
Oh, they sold it out with the door.
And then she's like, I got you. Like, yo, like 30 books. I'm like, what the hell? And my whole life I had this, but I never cared, right? But then when I would make mistakes and get in trouble, my mom would say, you got to read that. So she's like, oh, we'll get a book, and she says, read this whole chapter, and then you got to tell me about it. So, for instance, I would pick whatever, a letter G, and I would open it up, and she'll be like gorillas. And I would study gorillas. And the cool part about it is that I used to go to school the next day and be like, yo, did you know that gorillas run in tribes? Yo, you know that gorillas live in this time? Like, and then they would look at me like, what? Like, yo, what are you talking about? And that's been me ever since.
That's dope. So you're using, that's dope. Because
So to sum it all up, I got in trouble a lot.
So you read a lot.
So I read a lot. So much that sometimes I would have to read the same thing again. Imagine a 30 books. And I was a kid that, you know, I held my own. I did my own thing. My mom was always working. And I loved and feared my mom to death, right? So if she said, yo, you got to do this, you got to do this. So I was a kid that was always disciplined, scheduled, but out of fear. But then I started getting into knowledge. And when I started learning more about myself and started learning more about the world, I started realizing when I went to school, like, okay, we're out of elementary school. Now we're in middle school. Now they're trying to teach me American history. And I'll never forget this day, man. I was in history class and the teacher's, Christopher Columbus, the first person. And I was like, oh, it's not true. So she was like, what? I was like, yeah, it's not true. And then she's like, what do you mean, Gene? This is on the book. Please follow the curriculum. I'm like, but it's not true. Gene, please go outside, wait for me in the hallway. I'm like, yo. So ever since that day, I'm the kid that teachers always had a problem with because I would always question them.
Facts.
And it took a long time to realize that I was right.
Yeah.
But
we
like you said, I could have coiled up and been like, okay, I'm sorry. But I was like, no, man, I read it on the fucking book that my mom bought me.
I know this.
I'll bring it tomorrow. That shit's heavy, but I'm gonna bring it.
And that's good. And that's what comes with what you're talking about, authority, because that is an authority. Your teacher is an authority. The school is an authority. It's meant to be that way. That's something that we also speak on this book. It's like that I'm telling you that me and my sister put out. And I'm just like, I'm speaking about it and I'm still like in bloom about it. But the whole thing is, it is about that. It is about the school system and how, you know, unfortunately, it's not really meant to make you
No, man, the
go
school
forward.
system to me
it's not an
did
evolution
not
of things.
help at all. The only thing that helped me in the school system was teachers that cared.
Certain teachers,
Certain teachers, because there's some teachers that had it out for me, bro, like bad. And
there's this
because I was self thinker. I didn't really think of them as authority. I just thought of them like, you're just getting paid here, like chill. But then I met teachers that were actually like, yo, Gene, come here.
That they're there to make a difference.
Like, what's going on? Shout out to Dr. Ranuart. He was a high school principal. And I got in trouble, right? And he's like, oh, we're going to call your mom. I was like, yo, good luck finding her, man. Because my mom's either working somewhere or something, because I won't see her until later tonight.
Yeah, she's grinding.
Phone bill hasn't got paid, so you call, ain't nobody picking up. You know what I mean? So that's how I developed my self-awareness, self-concept, self-everything, self-knowledge. And then now that I'm older, I recognize that I have an understanding, you know? And I want to teach this or share this with barbers, because the barbers are the ones that provide a service to a lot of people. And you know, and I know that your barber is a friend, is a counselor, is a person you speak to. And if this podcast for the barbers is also for everyone, but mostly barbers, so they could spread this knowledge. Right. And if you don't agree with me, great. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's put a comment in and send it in and be like, yo, man, you're bugging, or yo, this is cool. And with all that, we develop more self-awareness.
Facts.
And then if we're all more self-aware, we stop caring about the politics. We stop caring about how much you have, how much you don't have. And you guys don't understand that greed is a very bad thing. I've never cared about money. I've never cared about possessions. All I've cared about is feeling, right? So.
But you have it with that little gold link that you got.
Yo, my wife got me this, man. She's dope.
So one thing I have to say that I really love is that facts about the barbershop thing, because one thing that I feel that could come out of this is that barbers could start realizing the power that they have. You understand? Because Listen, men are very anti going to, what is it, to go get counseling and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
man, you're
right?
very
Like,
prideful.
you know,
Very
specifically
prideful,
men.
and
I think everyone, but I say specifically men, right?
but I tell that to all my
But listen,
clients.
going to the barbershop, we've known this for years.
Yeah, that's where
That's
you
therapy.
therapy.
It's therapy,
Exactly.
dog. You're gonna go and you're gonna speak to your barber and this and that. So guess what? To all the barbers out there, if you have a chance to speak to people,
Speak the truth.
speak something important. Don't waste the time. You're already blessing them with the cut.
Word.
But let's like build. Let's speak. Like when I go to get my, you see how fly I look right now? This guy. When I go to the barbershop, I just don't go and be like, oh yeah, let me sit down and speak about. No, we'll talk some yaya, but yaya,
I would say blah blah.
blah blah. But there's always important things that are spoken about, things that are
Little gems dropped here and there.
yeah, meaningful things that kind of like when you leave or when I leave or maybe when you stay, it's like, damn, you feel good. It's always good to know that you're going to go see your barber and then you're going to feel good after, not just because of the cut,
You're gonna look
but
good,
also
feel
the
good,
conversation.
and that energy is gonna spread.
That mind therapy is going to be it's going to be feeling less pressured.
Correct.
Less pressure in that mind. And I think this, I feel like, you see how I reversed the role like 5 minutes ago?
You always do that.
I feel like this is what you're trying to do here.
Yes, sir. This is exactly what I want to do. And I wrote it down and I read it over and over every day. And
That's
pretty
an
much-
important thing, to write things down and read them over.
yes, why? Because the first dimension, second dimension, third dimension. And we'll get that in another episode, or we
with
could
someone
dig in.
else.
No, not someone else. It's a topic that takes a while. But to summarize it, your thought is the first dimension. Bringing that thought into action to a word that's written on a paper is the action that brings it to the second dimension. And then from that second dimension, whatever you write, you manifest into this realm, which is the third dimension. So I'm not telling you that that's how you have to do it. I'm just saying that's how I've done it, and it's worked. So I tell this to all my friends and clients. Life is a cheat sheet. Like, you could see what's wrong and not do it, or you can see what's right and attempt to try to do it. But then again, because we're all evolving and we're different and energies cross paths, you might have more obstacles, less obstacles than the next man, but that doesn't mean you give up. You just keep riding, keep going, keep doing you. Always keep in mind that if your heart is pure, you're good. So my religion is, do good, you feel good. You do bad, you feel bad. Simple.
I love that religion.
It's simple, dude.
I mean, the truth is that a pure heart is key.
Pure cars.
Key. That's key to start everything. So you have to have that feeling within yourself. One thing I've always, I'm gonna put one more quote in that religion, and then I'm gonna make that religion our religion. Is it's just, don't do anything to anyone that you don't want done to yourself.
And if you do, identify it and then address it, but do it as if you were addressing yourself.
Facts. Always put yourself in other people's shoes before you do things or speak.
Again, we're speaking from years of what? Messing up, fucking up, what do we call it? Living?
Doing great things, but at the same time, messing up comes with that part.
Yeah.
And like I say on chapter 1, which you actually put as the
Chapter
as the
1 is
promo.
the track in the Grown
It's
Music.
on my Grown Music album produced by Docs. It says, I wish my rights outdid my wrongs, huh? I always tried though. Whoever said that was easy. Like, come on. It's real, because you always try and do the best. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen. But you can't just crush yourself down. Society's already meant to do that. The universe, though, is meant to help you.
The universe is never wrong. I tell that to everybody.
Yeah.
Why? Because I've lost, and because of those 2 losses, I gained.
There we go. Because the universe got your back.
And then I've also gained, and I lost.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery road. Be careful,
It
especially
is.
Be
Yeah.
careful, you don't slip in. Right?
Oh, Lord. You don't want them to show my back right now.
Yo, you okay with the back? Is good?
I'm good. We still
Yo,
good.
this guy's a soldier. He's hurting, but he's here. So, yeah, like I said, I wrote down the main focus of this podcast. Like, damn, what do I want to do? I want to spread knowledge, right? So knowledge is also known as wisdom. So then I looked it up, and then there's several books that I read and things that I read up on, and I came up on this, which is the main focus: the collection of wisdom on the science of everything in life.
The collection of
Of
wisdom.
wisdom on the science of everything in life.
Hmm.
So collection, wisdom, science, life. You know what I mean? You kind of like,
I mean, we kind of like spoken on that here and there. I just think one thing I'm big on in life and humanity actually becoming one is to break barriers and to be kind of like consistent and being easy on your thoughts. So I kind of call it this. It's funny because people laugh at me when I'm like, "Oh, he's a Nazi with this," or "She's a Nazi with that," because we know how Nazis were. Like they were straight up like one way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a way of me saying it. But what I'm saying is, if you're Christian, then don't go and speak to someone who's not Christian and try and imply that. Have a great conversation with people. Realize how they feel.
but you know what everybody has in all religions? Faith.
Yeah. But faith is not, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're open to realizing this, to realizing that there's not one human being on the world that does not want the same thing that you want. So they all want happiness, family, love, and to be able to live and consist themselves every day. So that, within that, everything else is just speaking. It's just different. Oh,
Communicating.
Muhammad, Jehovah, Buddha, no one.
I like that one. No one?
Yeah. So it's like, as long as you could put yourself in a conversation, and we spoke about this like I'm saying at the
Yeah.
beginning, no arguments.
Mm-mm.
Don't feel attached to anything that's a movement, because movements just, to me, I've always said this, movements divide. Now they're beautiful when you're in them and you're feeling them, but movements divide because they tell you, oh, you shouldn't hang with this person because they think differently. Well, guess what? Thinking differently is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wanna know what you're thinking
I was going to
about.
say that, man. There's times that I'm talking to clients. They ask me a question and I'll drop a gem, but that gem doesn't reverberate too good in their ideology. So they'll look at me and be like, Gene, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I have two options. I could either be like, what do you mean? Or I could be like, all right, tell me how you think, or school me. And then they're like, oh, and then they tell me, and I'm like, yo, that's an interesting concept, or that's a good point, or damn, I'm gonna look that up. Never do I say, bro, you're wrong, unless you're wrong.
Word.
And it's worked. It's worked. So as a barber, if you really want to know how to go about conversation with your client, take information and grasp it, and then you might be right. Even if he's wrong, there's a reason why he thinks that way. So you got to find the reasoning. And once you find the reasoning, then you might shed a little light, And then if you shed a little light, we spark the brain, like we said.
Spark the brain.
And then they'll be able to adjust, understand, or just agree or disagree. And that's fine.
There's one thing that brings me to, is that I like, being humble is amazing. You have to be humble.
I mean,
right?
sometimes,
but humble's overrated, because sometimes you need to be accountable of your power, accountable of your accomplishments or whatever, or your thoughts, right? So one thing about being humble that I love and that I feel that is great, and I think people should move this way, is that people don't like to be wrong.
No.
But the problem with that is that you're not being humble and your ego is coming out.
Exactly. That's why.
So the whole point is like,
That's exactly
I'm
why.
I'm the total opposite. It kind of turns me on, and not in that way.
Pause.
People. It turns me on to get schooled in things. Why? Because I don't want to walk around in life telling people this, and I'm wrong, because you're just sounding ignorant. So if I tell someone the sky is pink and they tell me no, the sky is blue, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? Prove it to me. And then they prove it to me. I'm like, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be like thankful that you just helped me to walk around life with more knowledge.
Yeah, but peep this. When I was a kid, I always bring this up, and it bothers me to this day. we took a test. It was a quiz. It was like a 3-question quiz, and they said, name all the planets or whatever, and I named them, but that
Half of them are gone.
yeah, exactly. I didn't put Pluto, and then I failed the quiz because I didn't put Pluto, and then years later they're like, Pluto's not a planet.
Oh,
It's
so
a
you were
star.
seeing the
And I was like,
future.
yo, I was right, yo. I felt like going back there and being like, yo. And
I love that one.
And I'll never forget that. But then again, that goes to your point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. It is.
Life is crazy, man. And, you know, I just, like I said in this podcast, I just want to be able to identify subjects and talk about it like how we talk about it. Because I've seen podcasts with people and they're intellectuals and they are very articulate and they talk and that's not my people, you know, even though they are. But
They are
but
your
they're
people.
not, because it's not somebody that I could identify with, you know? And as a barber and being in the game for so long and obtaining all this knowledge, like I was talking to you earlier, I just want to be able to give that information out. Nothing in return, you know? Maybe, you know?
No, a lot of return.
Like the legendary Tupac said, you know, I will spark the brain of the person that's going to change the world. And that always stuck with me. That frequency was, I was like, yo, man, that's strong. And that kid was what? He was 23, 24 years old.
Yeah, he was super. He was like way young.
I was
when
like,
he
yo,
left.
this guy is on another level. And then music, that's another reason I want you here, because you touch people with your music. And if you go and look at your catalog, there's a lot of knowledge in those verses, in those songs. And, you know, we appreciate it. As a friend and as a fan, I appreciate the art. And I appreciate you not listening to me at times and saying, nah, I'm going to do this. Because sometimes you do knock it out of the park.
I appreciate that.
So, you know, with that said, I mean, we have a lot more to say. We could be here all night.
We can, but this is like, I like the way this is moving. I see it's a conversation thing, and people sometimes are interested in listening to good conversations. And I think that we're you know, I'm a Libra. So, you know,
You'll be back.
Yeah, I'm in the balance of things. So I feel like exactly what you just said a little bit ago. I think you might have a little Libra in you. You're like, oh,
Well, let's not
the
get into
intellectuals, like, those are not my people, but they are your people. But I totally understand what you're saying. Like, we're not coming over here doing the History Channel network Scientology situation, and we're also not doing the hood talk. What we're doing is balancing both
Worlds.
and creating conversations with barbers and people alike that deal or go to barbershops. But the thing is that the thing is that this is where it comes to, right? The barbershop is that place where everyone needs to go to.
Correct.
Because it doesn't
and if
matter.
you haven't, go to a barbershop. Go to a real barbershop.
It doesn't matter who you are, right? Because if you get cleaned up, who's gonna do it? And it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're top tier corporation CEO, politician, or you're the biggest hood rat in.
Well, now they're the same.
Yeah. So I love this, and I love to be the first person to be here. This is my brother from another.
I thought it thoroughly. I'm like, yo, man, I gotta have him. Yeah, because of this, the energy source. You know
It is what it is, and I loved it.
Blessed, brother. So I appreciate you coming. We'll do this again, though. It was interesting. I just don't want to keep the viewers. I want to keep them guessing, because what's coming up.
There's too much to talk about. We
Too
didn't
much to
even
talk
get into the
about.
music. We didn't get into the me traveling the world. We didn't get into the Grammys. We didn't get into the shout out Locos por Juana. We didn't get into we didn't get into all of that. And I love that, because this is kind of like a little spark up of just speaking, realizing what this is going to evolve into. And I'm good to be the baby breaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So I just want to leave everybody with the thought of, like, spread love. Do good, feel good. Do bad, feel bad. Simple as that. And again, all I know is that we don't know, man. And I've been trying to tell people that for a long time. And don't get offended when I say that, or when a person questions you. Just understand that everybody's, like Om said, same search, same wants and needs, you know? And once we gather ourselves collectively on the same frequency, I believe the world will be a better place, you know?
Live and learn, always.
Live and learn. Live, laugh, and learn.
Always
right?
laughing.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And remember to subscribe. Give up all your channels so they know what's up.
Listen, if you're looking for me at for music, like in anywhere where you just get music, like iTunes, Spotify, anything, it's just Omniscient. I say this all the time.
Spell it.
It's a 10-letter word, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's so difficult.
We'll put it up on the screen. So
it's OMNISCIENT. Now, if you're looking for me on social media, which is Twitter or IG, then you add a 305 to that Omniscient. And you'll find me. Yeah, Omniscient 305. But if you put Omniscient 305 on Google, you'll find everything. And once again, it's a 10-letter word, OMNISCIENT.
And look up Omniscient on the vocabulary dictionary so you can know what that means. And once you know what that means,
let's get it.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. Again, love you, bro.
Love you.
Bless.
Thank you.
Salute. Cheers.
Promises age 9, LaRon been getting me. Temper on the side.